Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So the state of Texas, we've covered this ad nauseum, but there's a major update today. The final map proposal is here from the Texas House Republicans because they understand that Democrats have waged war on the American electorate regarding gerrymandering while simultaneously playing the victim by and large to a successful degree, so much so to the point when people think of gerrymandering, they think of Republicans, even though if you look at the actual data, which we'll get into some of that and we'll get into some of the bad takes that we're seeing from some very prominent people on the left, but it's just not accurate. And Republicans in the state of Texas have taken note of this and want to kind of level the playing field, especially ahead of a midterm where you would like to extend the Republican Party trifecta and play for keeps. So this proposal, and Ohio very well likely will do another one. It's very possible that another state like Missouri or Indiana or even like Florida might redraw their maps. It's not as likely, but it could happen. Trump has endorsed the plan for it to happen. But this in Ohio very likely will happen. Ohio, Republicans likely gain 2 seats there out of the gate, or at least have a much better shot at gaining 2 seats. Meanwhile, in the state of Texas, they will be gaining 5 if this gets finalized and made official. So we're going to dive into it in this video a little bit deeper. But first, I have to tell you guys about our great friends over at Chalk. Our country just witnessed Donald Trump overcome political persecution, an assassination attempt, and the entire deep state to retake the presidency with a historic victory. And one secret ingredient allowed him to do it, and it's called testosterone. And what most people don't realize is that testosterone makes men willing and eager to take on challenges. Sadly, too many men have lost their fight, and that's exactly how the globalists want it. They want us weak, out of shape, and full of estrogen and microplastics with low T, which is why we're excited to partner with Chalk. They offer a whole line of products formulated to increase your energy, focus, detoxify your body, and clinically studied boost testosterone. Ingredients in the Chalk Male Vitality Stack have been clinically studied to boost free testosterone in 87% in just 21 days. Unlike with gimmicky vegetable pills or powder, you will feel the difference, and they have the clinical studies to back it up. And right now you can get 25% off your Chalk subscription, not just one time, but for life. So go to chalk.com, spelled CHOQ.com, and use the promo code REDEAGLE. That's 25% off any subscription for life, and you can cancel it at any time. So we have the new map, and it honestly looks more compact than the current map. And the current map has, some districts that look a little strange. You have San Antonio and Austin, part of that in the same district. This map actually is fairer because it gets rid of that, and you kind of see it. And on top of it, you see the Democrats. They have seats in their areas. The 16th district, which again, that could have maybe been redrawn to help Republicans given like trends that we know are happening in the area. I don't know if it was. But you have a few seats in Dallas for the Democrats, a couple in Houston, you have one in Austin, you have one in San Antonio, the Rio Grande Valley, which voted for Donald Trump, by the way, is fully red. That's where 3 of the districts came from. It makes it a more compact map, and like all of these seats pretty much voted for Donald Trump by over 10 points. So Republicans are playing for keeps. They're making sure that it doesn't really matter. Democrats are not going to be able to contest seats on this map, and it's not like a ridiculous like 37-2 map or something like that. Technically 36-2 because there's 38 seats, but still, this is a map that looks better than the current map, for one, and for two, gives Republicans more seats. And Democrats have been very good at this. They've been very good at hiding their gerrymandering for quite some time, but it's true. And J.D. Vance says it well, because a lot of people look at Texas, they see it as like the Republican California. Republicans in California would have like 8-9 seats, and there's more seats to go around in California. This would give Democrats 8 seats in Texas in a way where it's more than fair to the Democrats in the state of Texas compared to the standards that have been set in big blue states like California, Illinois, and New York by these Democrats. And Republicans have to do the same, or they're just going to get walked over. It's not about principle. Okay, Democrats have just set the narrative. They play the victim. They manage to control the narrative regardless because weak Republicans let them. J.D. Vance is not one of those weak Republicans. He's going out there and he's saying the gerrymander in California is outrageous. Of their 52 congressional districts, 9 of them are Republican. That means 17% of their delegation is Republican when Republicans regularly win 40% of the vote in that state. How can this possibly be allowed? And it's a good point. Democrats still get well over 20% of the seats here. And I will say this, just because you win 40% of the vote does not mean you should be guaranteed 40% of the seats. I don't think that that's entirely the point J.D. Vance is making, but if you look at a state like Massachusetts, it's very difficult to draw like 3 out of the 9 districts to be Republican. Maybe you have one that is a little bit Republican or at least 2 that are competitive. The map there is still a gerrymander, but even if you had a year where it's 9-0 and Republicans get like 35% of the vote, it doesn't necessarily mean that the map is a gerrymander, because there's 2 things you want to do. Yes, you want to actively like represent certain regions of the state. You don't want a bunch of spaghetti districts everywhere. But if Democrats are doing it, we might as well be doing it too. Illinois is the most ridiculous map I've ever seen in my entire life. And B, geography in some places it's going to help you, like Massachusetts with the Democrats, Republicans in Wisconsin. That's a very, very fair map. I think it's the fairest map in the country in Wisconsin. You have a district for every single major region, and Democrats have 2 seats in their column. Republicans have 5. One of those is somewhat close. And then you have like a swing district in the driftless area, which very well could go either way in 2026. But for, a state like that, Democrats have horrible geography. Republicans have horrible geography in Massachusetts. Democrats tend to do it in the Deep South. The only reason why they have any seats there is mainly because of the fact that they have affirmative action DEI districts from parts of the Voter Rights Act. They're antiquated and also don't apply in places where white voters are a minority, like in certain parts of Las Vegas or, for example, New Mexico. You don't get a white district there, but you have to draw 2 black districts in Alabama for one reason or another. It's ridiculous. Those are antiquated provisions that should be repealed. But then you look at what Gavin Newsom has to say about this in defense. He's saying that he might try to go out there and draw out all the Republican seats in California. I don't even know how he's going to be able to do that because A, it very well could end up being a major, major dummy mander if he does, but B, there is like an independent commission that is not independent at all, by the way. It's very liberal, but they're not able to constitutionally meet in the mid-decade. So Newsom, I think, will try to change it. I don't know if he's going to be successful, but I think he really just wants to complain because it's going to help his 2028 bid. More news on 2028 we'll cover tomorrow about a certain other Californian. But 2025, the most gerrymandered states, he puts up this map, and then you have the very fair map in Wisconsin, the very fair map in Pennsylvania. You have Arkansas, which you can't really, it's very difficult to even draw like a swing district in Arkansas, for one. Louisiana, where they made them draw in another Democrat seat where it didn't belong because of the Supreme Court. And then you have states like Kentucky, which, again, there's one blue area. Lexington's not as big. It's not as blue as Louisville. There's one blue area there. And then you have West Virginia, which is ridiculous because it voted for Trump. Both districts voted for Trump by like 40-some points. You're not going to draw a blue or even competitive district in the state of West Virginia. Utah maybe. I think Utah's a little bit more Republican favorable. But still, if you want to talk about the Democrat seats, I drew a real map because this one, the only Democrat state that's covered here is Maryland. And again, there's so many more. Illinois is not on there. Illinois has districts that are ridiculous. You have Chicago districts touching the south side of Chicago going to the other corner of the state. They're drawing every district out from Chicago. The fact that there's, 2 to 3 Republican districts there is nothing short of a miracle, if we're going to be completely honest. And then you have California, where there's plenty of districts that have been drawn by a so-called independent commission that have, benefited Democrats. You have the state of Nevada, where they split up Vegas in a tactful way to benefit Democrats, even though that could be a dummy mander and backfire. You have New Mexico, so many states. Yes, there are some Republican-favored gerrymanders. We're going to put this up here. But if you look at this, there's only 5 states, and that would net the Democrats, what, 1 district in Utah, maybe, not even a guarantee, maybe 1 in Tennessee. And then on top of it, you have Texas, which is still, even the new map is still fairer than California's. You have North Carolina, which again, Democrats don't really have very good geography there, even if it is still a Republican favored map to a certain extent. And then Florida, which honestly is not like all that big of a gerrymander at this point. I think you could draw a more compact map that would be fairer and also happen to give Republicans like more seats as a result, because the geography's just changed, because you have, over 1 million new net Republican voters over the Democrats over the past few years. But if you look at the Democrat states, Oregon, California, Nevada, New Mexico, Louisiana, Alabama, Illinois, New York, New Jersey's a big one. Connecticut, there's no Republican seats actually at all in New England. There's one that voted for Trump, as we know, Maine's 2nd district, even though it is held by a Democrat at the House level. But I mean, that's how many House seats in New England. You've got, a couple dozen of them, and they're all ran by Democrats. They're all Democrat seats except maybe one, which Trump won, as I stated. But it's like Republicans still get 40% of the vote in that region. And states like Connecticut, you really can't fall back on the geography argument. Rhode Island, they split Providence down the middle. That one should be a defavorable map. That's actually in the wrong column, as we see here. But still, it's like they are the biggest victim players in the world, because Republicans are not the ones that are stealing House seats. They're leveling the playing field. We have data proof, because the Republicans in 2016, they won the House popular vote by 1%. They still had a 47-seat majority. This isn't like a perfect metric. They actually did lose seats on net because they won the House popular vote by like 5 the previous election in 2014. But it's like Republicans win the House by more in 2024, and they only get a 5-seat majority. Some of that is geography, because Republicans did much better in deep blue areas. Another part of it is just the basic fact that overall, there is a serious problem with redistricting and gerrymandering, and it's not really on the shoulders of the Republicans, because Democrats are overrepresented in the House by every metric, regardless of however you want to spin it. And states like Ohio and Texas have the ability to just level the playing field, because Republicans should have like at least half a dozen seats more in California, a few more in New York. If you had a fair map, they would have probably 4 or 5 of them in the state of Illinois on top of what they additionally have now, which is just like 3. So you're talking about, 15 House seats. And then maybe if you want to say, what about Texas? What about Tennessee, Utah, whatever? Okay, maybe you talk about Democrats having like 5 or 6. So there's about 10 seats of an imbalance. So Texas has every right to step up and do what they're doing. I hope Ohio follows suit. Ohio, the map is relatively favorable to the Democrats given geography, which they'll never acknowledge, but then they'll acknowledge it when they can like try to defend Massachusetts, which is still a gerrymander. And it's completely ridiculous what you have. You have Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, California. There's so many examples. Connecticut's another one. Oregon's another one. I mean, come on, seriously? But there is a little thing called karma, and that we know, because by 2030, the 2030 census will be giving House seats to states that are more Republican. You're looking at 1 in Idaho, 1 in Utah, 1 in Arizona, 4 in Texas, and 4 in Florida. The states that are losing them, you have 3 in California, 1 in Oregon, 1 in Illinois. A lot of these are going to be blue districts too, because they really can't draw out any Republicans without severe dummy manders there. Minnesota, that one probably ends up being a blue district. Wisconsin, that one might be a red one. Pennsylvania, that could go either way. Rhode Island loses a blue seat. New York loses 2 of them. and Republicans are going to be gaining like a net 10 or 11 House seats on top of what they're already doing. So not only does the Texas map make it virtually impossible for there to be this blue wave, and it makes it much more likely for Republicans to go out there and hold the House, but it also just kind of allows them to be in a position where if they do hold the House, they might hold the House until like 2040. I know wave years can happen. They may not hold the House in 2026 even, but still the possibility of that happening is not just, non-zero. It's significant. We're talking about like a good 35% chance, which would be huge because you could have a trifecta for a lot of that, which means you get a lot done. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle out.